Today's business terrain is complex, but managing your business risks doesn't have to be. Cover Buddies is Malaysia's preferred insurance provider. Get that peace of mind knowing that our consultants can help you source and manage your insurance portfolio. For more information, visit our website at www.coverbuddies.com.
Welcome guys, welcome 2026. So this is really the first podcast that I'll be shooting for the year of 2026. Today is the 3rd of January and I thought I'll just kick off this series, or rather maybe the first of a few more series depending on the response obviously. And I'm sharing with you some of the things that we try along the way. Let's say you're starting off with maybe, let's say less than 5 people. No investors. No akong's money or datok's money and so forth, just really money out of your pocket. And if you're starting up a brand new business right now and you want to be able to find out what channels you can use and some of the results that maybe I'll share with you, some of the results that we got, and hopefully you have something that you can take home from there. So first things first, maybe if you are starting a business in 2026, you are again running on a shoestring budget. Number 2, you may have maybe yourself, right? Just a solopreneur, or you may have 1 or 2 staffs, just under 5 people. I think you enjoy this video. So I think the first thing you need to decide, or rather to define, is that is the product or service that you're offering, is it number one, of course, is it a product or a service? Number 2 is that if it's something that's B2B, or is it B2C? Okay, and just for the interest of some of our viewers, the B2B really just refers to, let's say, if you're marketing to businesses. So you're offering maybe services, solutions, products to other businesses so that they can operate better or more efficiently or whatever, right? Or for them to scale and so forth. But if you are talking about, let's say, B2C, you're offering to consumers, end users, and this is actually quite wide. It could be anything from personal products, it could be anything from like fashion products, like anything from retail, or it could be maybe simple services. So I think this is one of the things that you will basically establish first. Now, to me personally, okay, so for on our side, it is for, let's say, Cover Buddies, we are offering insurance solutions. Most of it is intangible products. That means it's a contract, a promise to pay if something happens. I feel that, let's say, if you're a solopreneur or you're just starting out, personally, through my experience, you have to be able to sell something with a quick turnaround or turnover. It has to be quick out, product or service, take cash in, and then you move forward, and then you go on to the next sale to build. And the reason why, through my experience, is that when you are starting out, you need to roll cash. You must have cash flow. If you do things that are big ticket items and you have basically what we call a long sales turnaround time, that means you sell a product, it's a big ticket item, and what happens is that it goes through many, let's say, stakeholders. It takes time. I find that in terms when you do that, your cash flow goes through ups and downs, which is very, very tricky. It may work for your business, but I feel, let's say, for small businesses or you're starting out, I would rather do business where there is quick cash flow. Money in, money out, very, very quick. So again, but this is just through my experience and what I realized. And to be safe, what I really found is that you may want to have, like, let's say 70% of quick cash flow businesses or items and services. Number 2, then maybe you have 30% of the big ticket items. It depends. You know your business better. But on our side, I realized that it was actually better to have some cash flow. So we really needed always quick cash. Some channels that we use, number 1 was, of course, we started out with social, where we had like Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and YouTube and pretty much, all that kind of stuff just to get awareness. And that is okay for awareness. However, I think it takes up a lot of resources. I think it takes too long for, let's say, a turnaround time. It may work very well for, let's say, restaurants. I think right now it is quite cost efficient where, for example, if you were to, let's say, shoot a video, you can hire a team, get a few guys to come in, and they can literally produce a video, let's say for restaurants, because we see a lot on TikTok, you see a lot on Red Note, you see a lot of it on Instagram and also Facebook. And I think they work fairly well because it's very visual. And so far, I think you can hire, let's say, a production team to actually produce that. And after that, basically, you can just buy some advertising from there and get things out. So I think that's okay for B2C side. On our side, it has not worked really well. Most of the time for us, it was good for awareness. However, I find that awareness is okay, it's good, but it's very hard to calculate your ROI. When you are smaller, you want to be able to predict your cash flow. Let's say if I spend 100 ringgit, or I spend, let's say, I spend 1,000 ringgit, how much am I pretty sure I would get back? So this is really, really important. And this is something that took me a while to learn. I tried all this when I started out Cover Buddies. We tried social. That means we went on Facebook, we went on Instagram, we were on YouTube, we even did podcasts, to be honest, like this one. And what happened is that these are all great for awareness, but it took too long, maybe as a small business, it took too long to see a return. So in other words, when you talk to me about, let's say, social, okay, I think it is more like secondary, to be honest, for smaller businesses when you're starting out. Maybe I speak for myself, maybe just on the B2B side, but I think it's okay for just getting awareness out there. In terms of predictability for creating pipeline, brutally honest, a bit tricky. So if you ask me, if you were to go into business straight away, you start up a company, you start up a business, I'm not sure if going full all out on social is the best way. I'm not sure about that. In terms of returns, big question mark. But maybe for our type of business, because our type of business was pretty much, people don't think about it all the time. So they only think about it when they need it and so forth. So if you talk about using social, I think social has its place. I think social is great for, let's say, creating a bit of awareness. However, social, to cut through that noise, you need to be very, very consistent. You need to also be able to have a little bit of budget, because right now, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, is not going to just promote you for free, okay? Nothing is free. And honestly, if any of you guys who've had better experience or better results, let me know in the comment section, because I would really want to know a bit more about that. Another thing that you can try are Google Ads. And this is something that maybe I will talk a little bit more about, because when it comes to Google Ads, right, let's say like search engine marketing and so forth, it has worked pretty well for us. Most of the time you are buying, let's say, a keyword. So for example, if you are selling, you're selling, let's say, high-end perfume, you can literally buy that keyword. And when you do that, someone who searches for it, and if your bid is correct, okay, taking all variables in consideration, your search will pop up. And because of that, when someone goes into your website and stuff like that, there is already intent. If you're talking to, let's say, a customer who already has intent, or let's say you're talking to a prospect who has intent, half the battle is won, because it is so different. As opposed to, let's say, you are just creating awareness, you're going to someone, you're talking to them, and you're trying to convince them of your service, your product. It may be a great service, it may be a great product, but the timing is not right. They will tell you, look, I don't need it right now. I don't need it. So, but I'll keep you in mind. I may recommend you to someone, so forth. But as a small business, what you need is pipeline. I need pipeline right now. And I find that when it comes to keyword targeting, let's say like for Google Ads, that works well. That works really, really well, because when it comes to, let's say, someone searching exactly, they know what they want, they find you, I feel that half the battle is already won. And on my side, if you ask me whether I would encourage that, I think it's a good idea. Honestly, at 1000%, I think if you were to start a new business and your main objective right now is to create some cash flow, I think Google Ads is a good way, because it is very predictable. You don't need to start big. You can start with a small budget and work your way from there. And if you ask me whether it's better to hire somebody or to do it on your own, maybe last couple of years, 5-7 years or whatever, you may want to consider getting someone to do it for you. Through my experience, I think right now, with Google offering so much help, with AI built in, I think it's okay when you start up, you can actually do it on your own. It's even simple enough to do it on your own. Just remember, most important, you will make mistakes along the way. You may overpay, but that's just how it is. You must have that mentality that starting out a business, you will spend some money, but just start small. Start small, learn from that, do slight changes, do tests and so forth. honestly, right now, if you ask me, compared to let's say 5 or 7 years ago, Google Ads are a lot easier to operate, and what they have done is that they have actually tapered off that learning curve where it is not too difficult for, let's say, a small business operator to pick it up and to adjust from there. Okay, so what else did we try along the way? We also try SEO, as in blogs. The old playbook was that you create blogs and you put in keywords so that Google will basically, the crawlers will be able to find keywords and kind of understand what your website is about and hopefully try to like point people to your direction. My take is that SEO has its place. And by the way, I also have tried doing it on our own and also basically hiring someone to help, getting writers and so forth. I've tried all those, and here's my experience. SEO has its place, but it takes time. Regardless of what some SEO specialists tell you, they'll tell you, oh, we can get done within a month or 2 months, and next thing you know, you will rank number 1 and so forth. But the majority, most of the time, 99.99% of the time, you would find that it would take a few months, 3, 4, 5, 6 months even. To me, as a solopreneur or as an entrepreneur, that is too slow and there's no guarantee. I need runway. So in business, you will realize there's a few things I'm looking at most of the time. Number 1, I need a funnel. I need people coming in, they're going out, fine. But some I will capture, and I need it to be consistent. I need a machine. Number 2, I also need some sort of predictability. That means I know if I spend a certain amount of money, I will get back a certain amount of return, which is basically a mirror of what I've talked about on the first thing, which is number 1, I need a funnel, I need a machine, I need leads to come in. Number 2, I need to have some predictability. In other words, ROI. I spend 100, how much do I get? I spend 1,000, how much do I get back? I need that. Number 3, I need cash flow. Go in, provide a solution, take the cash, move on, and build from there and roll and increase and increase and grow and grow. I think this one, SEO, you can do that much later once business has stabilized. And then you talk about, let's create more blog content. Let's create things that people can search for us and so forth. You can. But as a start, I'm not sure this is the best way. If any of you guys have had better success or any experience in this, I would love to hear your feedback on this. Are you looking for clearer, more confident investment decisions in a world of constant disruption? Check out the Beyond Insights Symposium, a full-day, high-impact event for investors and traders who want practical strategies, not noise. 11th January 2026, guys, happening at the Securities Commission Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur. Meet industry veterans including Kathleen Toh and Terence Teo from Beyond Insights and speakers from Luno, Mumu, and Alibaba Cloud. And here's the good news, guys. You could win a complimentary ticket to the event. Just head over to our website at www.coverbuddies.com. That's www.coverbuddies.com and look it up in our updates section. I'll see you at the Beyond Insights Symposium 2026 this 11th January. So what are the other things that we tried? Okay, so the next one I'm going to talk about is a little bit of a, maybe you can say it's a black hat, white hat, whatever area, right? But these are things that people do use. You can try that depending on your business. So this is basically what we call cold outreach emails, outbound. So outbound cold outreach, it could be through platforms, and you can actually use that through, let's say if you're B2B, you can use, let's say like LinkedIn, or you can just use a cold outreach. You can write to them. You can do it manually. You can automate the process. You can get a list. You can purchase a list, or you can scrape it off, different platforms and many tools out there. Let me know if you guys want me to talk about that a little bit more. Maybe I'll do that in the next episode, okay? But this itself is like a whole episode, on a few episodes on its own. So outbound is another way. This is very, very common. In the old days, you would use basically phone calls, cold calling. But I think now in 2026, there are many tools out there you can use. If you ask me, the last 5 or 7 years ago, outbound worked really well. If you were, let's say, if you got a machine going, remember I was telling you guys about, let's say, having a machine? Outbound used to be the machine where you send an X amount and you do get basically replies. You do get replies and you work from there. Outbound itself is basically a numbers game. So depending on your business, it can work because sometimes businesses do reach out to other businesses to introduce themselves and to talk a little bit about their service and so forth. And then we try to secure a meeting. At that time, we used to call it like a discovery call. That means you reach out to that person, you have a chat, and you sort of discover if you guys are the right fit. It could be in terms of budget, or maybe some of your solutions that you offer are right for them, and so forth. So last 5 to 7 years, it worked really well. Unfortunately, I think in 2025, it has not worked especially well. In fact, the take-up rate is quite low. When I compare with maybe the last couple of years, the response rate, you get basically a reply daily. So maybe now I do see a decline. However, one thing I want to point out is that AI is doing a really good job in doing this. So, okay, if you want to adopt this, you can. We have actually grown our business with outbound. And it was obviously a mixture, a combination, where I would be very targeted. I will write to, let's say, business owners, finance people, HR leaders, and so forth on, let's say, on LinkedIn or on, let's say, email. It works. It works if it's done correctly, very targeted, but it's a little bit slow. However, 2025, what I have noticed is that AI is doing a really good job. In fact, if AI writes even better emails, can you imagine? Now AI writes even better emails than humans. So I am a little bit on the fence right now, where we have hired people to actually help with the outbound. We actually have an outbound team to actually help write these outbound emails and to reach out to them. And once they respond, we sort of gauge if, I would do the pre-qual, and pre-qual basically means pre-qualifications. We'll write to them, send them a deck, maybe try to ascertain from there if they're a fit, then jump into a meeting or at least a call, a phone call, just to do a discovery. But right now, I don't think we need human to be part of it. So if you ask me, outbound, is it worth exploring? Yes. In short answer, number one. But number two, it is not something that is a set and forget. You don't just set it and just let it run. Out of that 1,000 names, 70% may be usable. Then by the time you clean, 70% may be usable because they're very, very old lists. And then by the time you clean it up, that means you have to make sure you validate the emails, that people are still there, they're working in company and so forth. You will be lucky if you have a list of, let's say, 30% that is workable. So you're talking about, let's say, getting a list of, let's say, 1,000 names and only 300 workable. And from there, you know what the response is? The response rate? The response rate is usually single digit. And what counts as a response? No thank you counts as a response. Yes, tell me more, it is also a response. But you will get a lot of no thank you. Maybe tell me a little bit more, or I'm not the right person to speak to, whatever. But you're looking at single digit. So be prepared for that. If you are to go into that side of marketing, just remember the response rate is single digit. There are many softwares out there you can use. I think they work, and we have actually won quite a few of accounts from there, but it's a little bit slow. So if you compare with other ways or other channels, you can consider this, provided you have the numbers and you get it cheap. When I talk about cheap, that means the tools that you use, the automation tools, the names, the lists, and all that you have, it is something that you have to get it cheap. So they work, but it's a numbers game. Maybe another thing that's also worth talking about is email marketing, because we hear a lot of that. And there are so many companies out there that talk about email marketing and how effective it is and so forth. I mean, you have companies that have automation, like, I don't know, you've got like MailChimp, you've got like HubSpot, you've got like Bravo. And I think email marketing is something that you need to, number one, you need to have a list. And by the way, email marketing is a bit different from outbound, okay? Email marketing, I'm talking about just marketing to your own database of people that have come in over time. But the first thing you need to realize is that when you are starting out the business, you don't even have a database to work with. So email marketing later. For us, even to build up that few hundred, right, that list, was really basically just inquiries that came in along the way. They registered themselves. And once they registered themselves, we basically started to remarket to them. These were people who, let's say, asked for an estimate, number one, a second quotation. Number two, these were also people that became our customers. And some of them asked for quotation, never converted. So they became, they ended up in our email marketing list. And number two is that people who are our customers. Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing about email marketing. Maybe an unspoken thing. When you check out new softwares for email marketing, they'll tell you how great it is and how effective it is, how you stay top of mind for your customer and so forth. Here's the thing. It takes time to build the email list because as you are marketing out there, many people may not give you that database. They may not register and so forth. But let's say you already have that list over time. Should you be doing it? Short answer, yes, why not? It's free, right? When I say it's free, that means you probably are using some sort of system. Most of them, like I have a free tier. I think MailChimp is very, very generous with their free tier. I think it's like 1,000 lists. So you can use it for free. I think Brevo allows you up to like 250. HubSpot allows you like 100, like 1,000, maybe a database where you can actually just send emails for free, right? Before they start charging you. So good deal. But what is the thing that most people don't talk about? The unsubscribe list, or rather the number of unsubscribes. Be prepared that every time, let's say you send to, let's say 1,000 people, you will always have a percentage of people who will unsubscribe. Honestly, you cannot take this personally. People unsubscribe because they don't need your news anymore. Some even customers will just unsubscribe because they just don't want to receive emails. Not because they don't like you, they don't like your company, their existing company, their existing customers, but they just do not want to receive it. You will have to be prepared for that. But it's free, number one. Number two is I feel the right mentality to have when you are doing email marketing and so forth is that, again, it is a funnel. So when we talk about it being a funnel, people join, people leave, some will come in, some would not end up as customers and so forth. You must have that mentality. So I think this one is maybe a bit of a mental barrier because a lot of people feel that, if I send an email, I'm going to lose subscribers, or some of them will unsubscribe and so forth. There's nothing wrong with that. As long as you are not sending them a bloody email every single minute and all that, I think it's acceptable. If you're sending, let's say, once a week, or maybe once a fortnight, or once a month, just to keep them warm or updated and so forth, and not to sound maybe too salesy, I think that's okay. Acceptable. So far, my experience. And then another thing that we've tried, and this one is worth talking a little bit about, is webinars. Some companies do really well when they organize webinars. But here's the thing that is really important when it comes to webinars, and this is one thing I noticed over time. If you were to conduct webinars, here's the advantage. Number one, it's interactive. You can ask questions, they answer you straight away. So webinars work very well for that, as opposed to maybe, let's say you create like a tutorial or a YouTube video and you post it online. That works well too. That you can scale, you can throw in marketing dollars and you can start marketing from there. Okay, different topic for a different day. However, let's say if you're selling a product or a service, very targeted, and you may want to do something a bit more interactive, webinars work well. However, webinars, the tricky part is that you have to be consistent. You have to be consistent where let's say every Thursday, 10 o'clock, 10 a.m., you run a free webinar, regardless of whether it's 100 people or 50 people or 5 people or even one person. It doesn't matter, because for all you know, that one person, what if that one person turns out to be a target market and that one person converts, then your time is worthwhile. But the tricky thing is that a lot of people fall off the bandwagon here. They do it for a couple of weeks and they realize that there's no results because there's so much input in terms of effort to get it organized, to organize it and so forth. And then they fall off the bandwagon and it never happens. But here's a thought. What I have seen over time are even businesses that maybe, I'll give you a very good example. Businesses like direct sales, those multi-level marketing businesses. How did they grow the business? And this is just even pre-Zoom days and pre-videos and webinars and all that. Okay, this is before. They were used to do let's say a business presentation. And they were used to do a presentation maybe like twice a week, once a week, whatever. And they were used to do it regularly at a set time every week. And after 10 years of presenting the same materials, they are able to grow into a multi-million-dollar business or multi-million ringgit business. And they just did it with the same slides, the same time, the same closing technique, the same hooks and all that. And that is just to prove that that actually works. But you have to be consistent. It cannot be, oh, maybe this Tuesday we'll do it. And then, after that Thursday, we may do it, may not. Then we skip a week. And it happens next month. It's very, very difficult. So if you were to commit to webinars, it has to be very, very consistent. So I'll share a story with you real quick. I used to actually conduct webinars. It was on every Thursday at 10 a.m. And the reason why I chose 10 a.m. is because, on Thursdays, it's not too busy. It's not like a Monday where, the bosses are screaming at them, the coffee is cold and deadlines are there and they've got money meetings and all those sort of reasons. So we are B2B and we used to conduct every Thursday, 10 a.m., free webinars. Absolutely free, no sales pitch, just really walking through different products, talking to people and helping them understand. And you know what? First, you may have 1 person, 5%, 10%, whatever. But a lot of them started to come in. When they started to come in, they'll ask questions because you have to realize some people, they may not want to ask questions so far, but they're processing it. But they committed, they come in. And the best part is that even business operators, sometimes they will send their staffs, they'll send their junior staffs over to get trained. So you can try that. Personally, I would really like to be able to also learn and maybe exchange notes on what worked well for you, what did not work quite as well, or maybe for different industries, the experience that you had. And I'd like to hear from you guys. Okay, so this is Dave here from Cover Buddies, signing off.
If you enjoyed our show today, be sure to subscribe and follow us on social media, or sign up for our newsletter through our website at www.coverbuddies.com so you'll get all the good stuff sent directly to you.